Trump's tariffs against Canada are backfiring as Canada stood up for itself, issued a firm and powerful and forceful response, and it has Donald Trump's administration reeling. Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was reportedly nervously calling the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, and saying, Doug, please don't do this retaliatory tariff stuff. Please don't cancel the Starlink contracts. Please tell all of your supermarkets not to take the American bourbon and American whiskey off of the shelves. Please don't do that. Let's try to do a deal. To which the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, said, you punched us in the face, Howard. We have to respond this way. And Howard was like, look, we're going to try to do a deal. Donald Trump needs to kind of get out of this. Let's figure something out. Look, Prime Minister Trudeau in his speech that he gave earlier in the day was mean to us. We got to figure this out. We got to figure something out. Yes, when you stand up to the bully, it turns out that the bully, that the Trump administration is weak as F. You know that now, and that's for sure. So let me just show you what went down, right? So Doug Ford, the conservative Premier of Ontario, who used to be Maple MAGA. This guy used to be kind of supportive of Trump, and that kind of was supportive of Trump until he said Trump stabbed him in the back with the tariffs. Here's the message that he posted yesterday. Canada and Ontario didn't start this trade war with President Trump, but Team Canada is ready to win it, referring to the unity of mostly all of the premiers of the provinces in Canada aligned at the federal level with Prime Minister Trudeau. Doug Ford goes on to say, as a first step in our response, Ontario will rip up our contract with Starlink, take U.S. alcohol off of LCBO shelves, and ban U.S. companies from government procurements. Prime Minister Trudeau issued the following statement. The moment U.S. tariffs came into effect this morning, so did the Canadian response, he wrote yesterday. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion of American products, starting with $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and the remaining $125 billion in 21 days' time. You see right here, the LCBO halted the sale of all American alcohol. The LCBO is the world's single largest purchaser of alcohol, a loss right away of $1 billion to American companies. Like that, Donald Trump did it. Here's what LCBO posted. For the good of Ontario, for the good of Canada, in response to U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods, products produced in the U.S. are no longer available until further notice. Looking for alternative? Ask our team about our extensive range of Ontario and Canada-made products. And you saw right there all of the American alcohol being taken off the shelves. Also, lumber futures soaring to its highest price in recent memory as well, making it very difficult for new homes to be built in the United States. So here's the play-by-play of what went down as I talked about it earlier. Laura Stone got the scoop. So the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, he had to call Premier Doug Ford of Ontario after the press conference by Doug Ford, basically saying, look, your response is too tough. It's too aggressive. You got to tone it down. You're making Donald Trump sad. You're making Donald Trump sad. And Ford told Lutnick, Howard, I ain't backing down. You punched us. You went after us. We have to respond. You have to understand, Howard. You come after us. We're coming after you. We were prepared. Your people weren't ready. What you going to do about it? So then Howard Lutnick runs on Fox, American state regime media. And then he's like, all right, we're trying to work out a deal. We're trying to figure something out with Canada and Mexico. You know, Trump's a good deal maker. It's all going to plan, everybody. It's all going to plan. Here's what Lutnick said here. Watch this.
He's going to come out today angry that Americans are still being killed. Now, both the Mexicans and the Canadians were on the phone with me all day today trying to show that they'll do better. And the president's listening because, you know, he's very, very fair and very reasonable. So I think he's going to work something out with them. It's not going to be a pause, None of that pause stuff. But I think he's going to figure out, you do more, and I'll meet you in the middle some way. And we're going to probably be announcing that tomorrow. So somewhere in the middle will likely be the outcome. The president moving with the Canadians and Mexicans, but not all the way.
Just to clarify,
you see, when Canada smacked these losers down, you see how weak and pathetic this regime is. This wannabe authoritarian regime of freaking losers who are in charge in the United States right now. These snake oil salesmen, con men who are just trying to screw up the international order to benefit Putin. Yeah, when you screw over Canada, Canada goes over the boards. When you screw with Canada, Canada goes elbows up. Canada's a peaceful nation, as many of our allies are, unlike Russia. But you screw with them, you poke them, they stand up. Here is the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, in the speech that he gave yesterday. That really scared the crap out of the American regime. Here, watch this.
Going one step further, we're ripping up Ontario's contract with Starlink. It's done. It's gone. We won't award contracts to people who enable and encourage economic attacks on our province and our country, alongside federal tariffs and the measures my fellow premiers are bringing forward. This Team Canada's opening response.
And here he is again from the day before that even, Doug Ford saying, we're going to cut off your electricity next too. We're going after you. You come after us, we're coming after you. Watch this.
If they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face. So, and I'm encouraging every other province to do the same. Quebec, Manitoba, BC, we all have to act in unison. Out east, they rely on our energy. They need to feel the pain. They want to come at us hard. We're going to come back twice as hard.
And here he was on CNN saying how livid Canadians are. Play it.
How upset, how mad are Canadians? Canadians aren't usually the types to get angry, but how mad are Canadians this morning?
They're absolutely livid. They're furious because we look at the United States as our family. We're one big family. We've stood shoulder to shoulder in wars and every other crisis there is. We love the American people, but unfortunately, the president has gone sideways on ourselves.
Here he is saying that Canada will not hesitate to use every tool in its toolbox. Play this.
I want to send more critical minerals, but I will not hesitate to use every tool in our toolbox to protect Ontarians and Canadians across the board. I've never seen patriotism run so wild across our country. Right down to the grocery aisles, people refuse to buy American products. This is not right. We love America. We love the people. And the president needs to be stopped. Simple as that.
Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario and Canada.
Your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. I get so many emails from the Meidas Mighty saying how great Miracle Made sheets are and how it's changed their lives for the better. Here's why. It uses silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA. So therefore, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you get better sleep every night. Now, these sheets are also infused with silver, as I said, and that prevents up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets, so no more gross odors. Also, Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without that high price tag of other luxury brands, and it feels as nice to me, if not nicer, than the sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So, upgrade your sleep this year. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/MEIDAS to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, If you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Meidas at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas and use the code Meidas to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Meidas to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And Prime Minister Trudeau's speech yesterday, pitch perfect. He's acting like a wartime president because it is a declaration of war, essentially, against Canada by the United States. Here's what he said.
I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you. As of this morning, markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for the United States. And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth. So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today.
Here he is again. Let's play it.
I think in terms of what he wants, and I heard he talked about banking again this morning in a tweet, which doesn't make any sense because American banks, there's about 16 American banks currently active in Canada holding about $113 billion worth of assets in this country. So the American banks are alive and well and prospering in Canada. It's an example of not really being able to see what it is that he wants, because even the excuse that he's giving for these Paris tariffs today of fentanyl is completely bogus, completely unjustified, completely false. So we actually have to fold back on the one thing he has said repeatedly, that what he wants is to see a total collapse of the Canadian economy, because that'll make it easier to annex us, is the second half of his thought. Now, first of all, that's never going to happen. We will never be the 51st state. But yeah, he can do damage to the Canadian economy, and he's started this morning. But he is rapidly going to find out, as American families are going to find out, that that's going to hurt people on both sides of the border. Americans will lose jobs. Americans will be paying more for groceries, for gas, for cars, for homes, because we have always done best when we work together.
Here he is again. Let's play it.
And I can tell you that every country is very, very aware that if the American government is willing to do this to their own closest ally, neighbor, and friend, everyone is vulnerable to a trade war. And our ability to work together thoughtfully and strategically to make sure we're supporting our citizens, we're doing things together in a more diversified way is something that is on the mind of all of our allies.
Now all of the MAGA Republicans had to go on state regime media in the US, Fox, and had to be like, well, look, short-term pain's okay, right? Short-term pain's okay, right?
Worried about all of these spending cuts potentially leading to a recession. Now there's new growth worries. As you know, markets were down sharply yesterday on the tariffs and on this idea that all this cuts happening could in fact induce a recession. Now we're expecting a contraction in the first quarter.
I mean, your last segment, you hit on the tariffs, and I think that was a large reason why the market reacted to that. But we have to cut spending. We are $36 trillion in debt. I've only been in Congress for 6 years. When I first got elected, we were $20 trillion in debt. We put $16 trillion on the debt. We were running, just in the last 6 years, we're running a $2.5 to $3.5 trillion deficit every year. Our country and our economy can't handle that. The Treasury can't handle that. The American people can't handle that. We have got to get our fiscal house in order in Washington. And if that means a short-term pain for the country, then we're going to have to walk through that together to ensure that we put ourselves on a fiscal prudent path going into the next 10 years.
And then Donald Trump at the State of the Union, you may have seen, or the joint address, whatever the hell they're calling it, was like, we're good with pain, right? We'll suffer a little bit. Everyone's okay with some short-term suffering. Here, watch this.
They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh.
Well, if you take a look at the Dow Jones yesterday, it crashed yesterday. Over the past month, it's down over 2,000 points. Over 65% of Americans believe the economy is doing very bad right now. That's what they're saying, very bad. But folks, the big MAGA influencer Cat Turd wants you to know that these tariffs are going to hurt Canada 100 times more than us. And the Canadian leaders know it. They can't hide their panic. Really? Because now it doesn't seem like they're panicked. It seems like they're prepared. It seems like this Trump regime is in panic mode as stagflation fears bubble up as the Trump tariffs take effect. Now economists believe that there will be stagflation, meaning rising inflation and a recession when it comes to GDP growth. Remember, the Atlanta Fed is now predicting basically a 3% plus contraction in the economy, where it was supposed to be a 4% growth if Donald Trump didn't do a thing and just let former President Biden's economy roll on. There you have it, folks. Canada standing up powerfully to the United States. And we're not even talking about the boycotts, the boycott of U.S. tourism, the boycott of all U.S. goods. Think about the tourism hit when that shows up in our economic data. That's in the Atlanta Fed model, in addition to other things. That's why they're predicting like a 3.5% to 4% contraction of our GDP, recession territory in the first quarter. Trump took a perfectly stable, good economy and crashed it into the ground. And you see how weak and pathetic he is, like a quartered rat that he is. No offense to quartered rats. We're frankly more likable. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.